Right now. What?
How many times have you been pregnant?
3.
This is your 3rd pregnancy?
Yes.
You have 2.
As you guys can see, this lady is in labor at Medical Hospital. This is out here in Mesquite, Texas. A lot of people are pissed off about this because it's like this nurse took her time with this woman, having her answer questions, just nonchalant about it. And like people say, when a woman is in active labor, you're supposed to get them where they need to be before having this baby. And the woman was just screaming in excruciating pain, and she said they're like, hey, it is what it is. I have a clip. I'm guessing this might be her mother that is explaining what really went on. She was saying that they tried to get her to sign. She had to sign papers, just all kind of stuff, and it pissed people off. So I heard that she supposedly got fired. I don't know how true it is. I have a clip in here as well, someone talking about it, but this video is for entertainment purposes only and allegedly.
It's in my ass.
You have 2 babies at home? Who's your doctor?
Lang is her doctor. Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
There was a first patient for you. Alright, last name is Jones. She's G3P2. I'm not sure when her due date is.
Her due
I
date is
just
the
said
10th.
it was the 10th.
I think her due date is the 10th.
She got 3 pregnancies, 2 babies at home. I bet y'all listen next time. When you found out you was delivering at this hospital, your ass should have changed doctors. Everybody say how they treat people here.
And she is right. After this video hit the internet, they said it was so many different women that went to this same hospital, started complaining and telling their stories over on TikTok, how they got treated at this hospital, that it was ridiculous. And it's like, I feel like more of us should start complaining about these hospitals, these nurses. Just, if you're getting treated wrong at these hospitals, speak out. It might not seem like your voice isn't getting heard, but the minute more people start complaining about the way they are getting treated, things will change. I understand that these nurses and these doctors and the other staff members be tired because there's so many people coming in and out, especially if you live in the city. I get that, but you can't be neglecting people when it's an emergency. You cannot do that. What if she would have passed away? What if something would have happened to the baby while she was in active labor? People don't think about that.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
are you able to call the anesthesiologist?
Someone is coming to take you to labor and delivery.
That's not what I asked.
I cannot help.
Don't piss me off! This is coming from a postpartum nurse that has previously worked in labor and delivery. This patient was visibly in distress, in an excruciating amount of pain, and you asking her, who's your OB? How many children have you had? All you had to do was check the patient's chart, get the patient's name, check the chart. Guess what? That's not even important right now. The thing that's important is she's saying the baby is in her behind. Now, me having experience working in labor and delivery, the doctor asks, if you feel pressure down there, that means you're ready to push. And if you're ready to push, that means you're about 10 centimeters dilated. And if you're 10 centimeters dilated, that means you're about to have this baby like right now.
I'm not a nurse, and as I always state when it comes to video about kids, I don't have any children. But that statement is true because my mom told me this story when she was pregnant with me. She said her water broke. She started having contractions quickly. She said she kept telling them she felt like she had to use it. She said she ended up sneezing, no lie. She said, and part of my head, TMI, popped out. She said that's how quick after her water broke, she went in labor with me. She said when she told them that her water broke, she called ahead of time. They was standing there waiting for her to come in. As soon as my dad pulled up, she said they had the wheelchair, everything, rolled her back there, got her set up, did what they had to do, with her with delivering me, and it was done. Like, this woman got neglected all the way around. I don't care what anybody has to say. This woman was neglected, and the lady was rude as heck to her. And kudos to her for being so calm and still being sweet and talking to her nicely, because most people would have chewed this nurse out. You hear me?
I find it hard to believe that this person that was taking her information even went to nursing school to begin with, because to pass nursing school, you have to take the maternal class, and then you learn the stages of labor. And you can tell that this lady is obviously in active labor, and if she's in active labor, this is an emergency. She wasn't acting too urgent for me. She was way too calm. Asking her all of these questions that could have been taken care of by somebody else. They should have been getting that information from the patient while taking her to triage and doing things simultaneously. When you go to nursing school, you learn delegation and prioritization. You can get somebody else to help you do things while you're helping the patient at the same time. What's really getting me is the lack of empathy. You act like you don't care. You have to know basic care and comfort. You have to have empathy for the patients. You have to put yourself in their shoes. If you ain't ever had a baby, you don't know the pain she's experiencing. Let's not go into all the things that could have went wrong.
She's right. I never had a child, so I don't understand how the pain feel. But you better believe if I was a nurse, I still would try to imagine how I feel and put myself in their shoes, seeing how they are reacting. They're screaming, they're hollering and stuff like that. That lets me know they're in excruciating pain. I need to get them where they need to be, to the delivery room, whatever. So no, I don't have any children, but it's still, you could just tell when someone is in a lot of pain. You need to do your job. Kids or no kids, it's just that.
Because you over here playing.
My daughter went into active labor at home. We took her to the hospital. She called ahead of time, so we know they are expecting us. However, we get there to the emergency room. We watching nurses, putting gloves on, running to the door. They get outside of the door, and I drive a black SUV, and they look at my vehicle. And one of the nurses come up to the window and she goes, I'm sorry, this is for ambulance only. I said, well, my daughter is in active labor. And she was like, okay, she said, but you're going to have to go to the front. I'm like, I have to drive to the front. And they said, yeah, you have to drive to the front. Okay, another redhead. And so I'm like, so she's you hear, and it was like, yeah, she started bagging up, hit the button, went back inside the building. So I go around to the front. I get out of the car. Again, this girl is in more pain now than she was when we first left the house. And she started saying, I feel pressure, I feel pressure. I said, take deep breaths. I ran in. I said, hey, my daughter's in the car. I went to emergency. They told me I had to come to the front. So the lady was like, what's your daughter's name? Told her Kiara Jones. She gets out some paperwork, started typing in her name. I was like, ma'am, do you have a wheelchair or anything? She's in the car. I need to get her in. Oh, if you check on the other side of those doors where the vending machine's at, there should be a wheelchair out there. There's no wheelchair out there. So she gets up, she walks in the back, and she comes to the door with a wheelchair. She said, here you go, ma'am. I said, excuse me, you're not going to come with me? And she was like, no. Oh, okay. So, a police officer was in the lobby. He gets up. He grabbed a wheelchair. He goes out the door with me. He said, come on, I got you. Went out there. She is on hands and knees.
You know it's bad when a police officer gets up and helps you with the wheelchair to bring your daughter in from out of the car inside of the hospital, because the nurse is like, I'm not doing that. Like she said, are you going to help me? Normally the nurses are supposed to roll the wheelchair out, help them get into the wheelchair and bring them back in. That right there lets you know what this hospital is all about. They are not about ish.
In the back of the vehicle. And I'm like, oh shit, what is going on? And then she goes, it's in my ass. And I was like, what? And the guy was like, and she was like, he said, okay, she was like, give me a minute. She could not move. So when that contraction eased, we put her in a wheelchair. He said, you can go park your car, because they, again, had, people out there. So I went park my car. It wasn't even 30 seconds. I run back in the building. She's just there with a stack of papers in her hand, screaming that this baby is coming. This baby is coming. I look at the registers behind the window, and they looking at me, and they was like, well, we can't do anything until she signed the papers. Are you fucking kidding me?
That is insane. Trust me, I have been to the emergency room numerous of times, and my emergency has been emergency. I have literally been sitting there trying to fill out the paper, and they have called my name to come on to the back and told me, oh, you can finish those papers later on. We need to get you on back here and get you taken care of immediately. So if they do that with me, and I wasn't even in labor, I wasn't even having a child. It was just other emergency that had happened to me, and they told me to worry about those papers later. You damn sure should have told her that, because she was getting ready to have a child. She was in labor. That is insane.
So I grabbed the papers, and of course, it's all they ER bullshit that they have. And I was like, you want her to sign this, and she's in active labor. And they was like, okay. I was like, ma'am, she was supposed to be induced earlier today at 8:00, and they called and told her that they will call her because they didn't have beds, and they will let her know. And no one ever called back. They called back every hour on an hour, and it was like, no, we'll call you back. And then finally, her water break, she called them. They tell her to come in. So why is she signing these papers? We need her in labor and delivery. And it was like, ma'am, I'm sorry. So the charge nurse comes out, and she saw the paper signed. What fucking, are you serious right now? And she closes the door. And then the lady behind the window, at this point, my daughter, scribbled her name on all the papers. We gave it to her. She says, thank you. She walked it around to the charge nurse. She opened up the door. My daughter is literally like having a contraction, and she's just standing there in the door. So we push her into the door. I said, can we get her into labor and delivery? She said, no, we have to fill out all this paperwork. I have to do the paperwork and get her a band before we can send her upstairs. So that was the video that you guys saw that I initially posted. So the next video that has no picture on it was when I was pushing her in, and we was at the window, because they asked me to move her from the window so they can take care of the guests or, patients that was coming in and out.
They were treating her like she was nobody, like her and her child was nothing, nobody at all. It's the fact that you wanted her to move her so they can help other patients. I get that, but she shouldn't even have to be moved from the window, because she should have been in the back immediately. And kudos to her daughter, because it's the fact she literally sat there and signed all those papers while in active labor, because like I said, most women would have went on one. They would have snapped, because some people, when they are in pain, they don't have time for the BS. And for her to scribble her name to sign those papers because that's how bad she wanted help and wanted to have this baby, people are wrong. That if that nurse is fired, they should get those other nurses as well. They should get suspended or something as well, the way that they were treating this woman, for real.
Do not go to this hospital. This hospital is ghetto as hell. They do not care about Black women or their babies. This is crazy. I read about stuff like this all the time, but to see this firsthand, this lady did not care. None of them. It wasn't until we got into labor and delivery where we saw an ounce of care or sympathy for her. Before then, they can care less. She did not care if she gave birth in that wheelchair. That was not her problem or her concern.
Hey love bugs, I just wanted to come on here and report that the update to Miss Carrie Jones, the young lady who was in the emergency room in active labor, and the nurse LaCrista Vaughn, who was doing her triage and had her in that wheelchair in triage for 30 minutes while she was in active labor. Miss Vaughn has been terminated. So to all of you who called and made your complaints known and voiced your concern for this young lady, as well as anyone else who has been put in that position, thank you. And understand that your voice matters. As a nurse, I am beyond relieved to know that in this case, someone was listening. Someone heard what we were saying and they did something about it. As I shared with you before, there are lots of ramifications, when nurses do things and we do things illegally. Not only do we stand to be terminated from our jobs, we also stand a high chance of having to go before the board of nursing of our respective state, and having a review before the board of nursing. Not only can that lead to, in addition to your termination, you can also have your license suspended. You may be required to do additional training until you meet so set expectations of the board of nursing.
She needs to be let go, because I guarantee you this is probably not her first time treating a patient like this when they came into the ER. Like, this looks like something that she is used to doing, and she's sitting there like whatever. So I feel like even if she did, have to go in front of the board and make her do more training, I feel like she's just going to go somewhere else and treat someone else the same way, because that is rude. That was so rude of her to do this lady like that. A woman is in labor, you need to get on your ish and make sure they are good, because that is going into labor. From hearing stories and reading up on it, it is very dangerous. Like, something can change within a split second with the mother, with the child, or with both. So you have to be on your game and get them to the labor and delivery room and make sure they are good. Like the lady said earlier, you have to put the monitor on the woman's belly to make sure that the baby heartbeat is good.
Or you can even have your license revoked. So Ms. Vaughn's issues have just begun. Termination from her place of employment is just the beginning. And that's not to say that she may not stand civil and punitive damages for what she has done that created the post-delivery issues for her newborn son.